maybe I could probably sit this way. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. Oh yeah, I think it's backwards.
Oh, okay. So just
But-
just spin around then.
But wait. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 1 1 1 1 1 2 3. I fucking can't tell.
It might just be the pop filter. Might just be the pop filter causing the change.
Hold on, I gotta double check. This is gonna be really bad if I.
There we go. Go ahead, my start. Good morning, Matthew and the guest.
Welcome the guest. What should people call you?
I mean, Japanese Gary Brand is my name, right?
Okay, so just Gary, for short.
I mean, it's a bit weird because it's not my real name, but
It's up to you.
it's just Japanese Gary Brand is fine. Or like, the way I was.
Okay, I'm gonna call you Gary then.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, it was backwards.
Fine. Whenever I like make sure of myself, I just put it into initials of like JGB. But yeah, Gary's fine. Hello, neighbor.
Okay. So can barely hear Jerry. They're saying.
I need to sit close.
Or
Got a small.
okay.
Got a small chair. That thing.
You have good posture.
No.
This is a meditation bench. Your knees go on here.
Yeah.
You can practice seiza.
At least I won't go numb like a Caesar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My head's a bit cut off in the camera though on the left.
Okay. I can probably just fix the camera there.
The camera's like making me look bolder than I am. Don't want to catch your laundry, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, never mind. You're more cut off. Oh wait. Okay, no. This is the left one.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
right one.
Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Yeah, you're looking shiny.
Shine. Sorry.
I'm the one to talk. So. Oh, that's too much.
You see your laundry. Yeah.
Clean laundry, by the way.
I mean, yeah, it would be hung if it wasn't clean.
Okay.
That's fine, actually.
There we
That's
go.
Pretty good.
There we go. Okay.
Right, let's try and keep this between us.
Yes. Yes.
I guess a bit close to me.
Actually, maybe we should switch positions, because that will put you closer to the mic.
Okay. Okay. It's great.
Small Japanese apartment here.
It is pretty. This what you're seeing right now, people. That's the entire apartment.
This is it.
Pretty much.
There's a loft, small loft.
Yeah. Damn, that is small.
What's the interview about? It's about Gary.
It's about me. I'm very important.
Yeah, and his journey, learning Japanese, living in Japan, moving to Japan.
I did cut my hair. Thank you for noticing. It's the Norwood Reaper comes for us all.
People are saying give Gary your chair. You're right. You're the guest. You should get the chair.
Really? Yeah, fine. Okay. It feels a bit awkward stealing a man's throne, but
No, you're right. You're the guest of honor today. You're
Okay.
right. Why am I in the more comfortable? I'll be doing
This is-
seiza here.
you gotta learn from all the great.
I'm trying to practice
show
my
hosts.
posture.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't too bad. I actually feel taller. This is
Yeah,
this is
I
good.
think it was
should-
propelling. I
should
mean, it's
use-
your arse is higher. Yeah.
Oh, now I'm taller than you. You wanna? Oh yeah, this is probably too short for you.
No,
You
I'm
wanna-
fine
You
actually.
can
But
use this. You sure your knees aren't gonna hear this one right here? You can.
yeah, it's
yeah.
an office chair or something. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now we almost look like we're the same height. Maybe you should move a tiny bit more that way. Okay, and then try to talk close to that. Okay.
About there, so it's not covering my face.
Okay. Well, welcome, guys. Audio still good, guys? Audio still good? Hello. Thank you, Matt L, for your donation. Very nice of you.
I mean, I should start talking because it's close to me, so they've
Yeah.
better hear and compare.
Cool. So, well, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Today we have Gary with us live in person, and so, I mean, as a basis, I was thinking of just doing this the way I normally do my interviews.
Well, yeah, 'cause you never interviewed me, which is kind of
Yeah, you've
very
you've,
kuyashi. That
you've
was
been on the list for a long time. So,
which is
I've-
weird because we met like once before and we've talked intermittently at length at certain points actually.
Yeah, no, you've been on the list for a long time, but at least now it happened, and it's always fun to do it in person.
It's fun to do in person. We're in Japan. It feels really special, you know, like the start of a new era.
Oh yeah, someone says it's quiet, so I'm turning up the gain. Okay.
Yeah, it puts it into yellow when I just talk, so that's pretty good.
Okay. Well, okay. What's jumping? We can do questions towards the end, but
Of course.
for now, so yeah. So when did you first get interested in Japan or learning Japanese or?
So this is an answer I practically give whenever I'm in interviews for Japanese jobs now. They're like, why did you start Japanese? And like, I didn't learn Japanese until I was already in my 20s. Like, I started at the age of 23, and I'm 31 now.
Oh wow!
So it's been...
That's a pretty late start.
It's yeah,
as far as language learning goes.
right, because I guess as a kid I was sort of, I thought Japanese was cool, but never really heard it, because I was also always a dub listener, even with anime. Like, the reason I originally got Twitter was to listen to English voice actors, because it was a very small community at that time.
Yeah.
So following that level of celebrity was very interesting. And only since learning Japanese, or like a bit before that, did I really get into listening to Japanese. So I didn't even have the sort of, oh, Japanese is cool,
Yeah.
I really need to learn
But you
it.
liked anime.
I liked anime, and my first words as a kid were actually Power Rangers.
Really?
And as we all know, Power Rangers is an American adaptation of Super Sentai, which is the Toei famous tokusatsu show. And so I've loved tokusatsu ever since I was a kid. I love watching Kamen Rider now. I haven't quite kept up for the last few years, unfortunately, because I've been doing adult stuff. But yeah, so I've loved Japanese stuff for ages. Even things I love, like games, a vast majority of them have been Japanese. Been an important influence in my life. When I went to university, I studied developing video games, and that's my degree. I didn't get into anything after that, and that leads into how I started learning. Like, I felt like I just didn't have the confidence, too young, right after university, didn't really have any portfolio, no experience under my belt. So I was like, I'm just going to do any job I can take, apply for anything in my like shitty little town, and I just wasn't getting anything. And so I was going crazy after like a year. So that was the time when Amazon became Amazon Global, and I was like, oh, it's my birthday, I'm going to buy a manga from Amazon Global that isn't yet translated and try and learn enough Japanese to understand it. And then that just became bigger and bigger.
And so it was mainly a career thing? Like, you thought maybe that would bring you an opportunity?
At the time, I just wanted a challenge.
Okay.
My brain was like eating itself by like, it felt like I wasn't moving forward in life. I wasn't focusing on anything. So I am the kind of person that in a vacuum really needs something to do. So I latched
and you liked
onto
anime, so you were like,
Yeah.
let me try
And
to
I fell
learn.
into the same sort of thing that a lot of people, I think, of the time did when they were interested in Japanese and Japan. Like, I watched, people making vlogs in Japan, and I really considered the JET program for a long time. I considered that to be my goal originally, but my goal was I would learn enough Japanese that when I go to the JET program, when I come back a year later, it wouldn't be like a reset. I would have built connections, like a reason to be there, or really change my life, not just make it into a year out and then a year back.
Yeah.
And then eventually when I got into AJAT, I dropped everything else I was doing, focused super hard on that, and even the goal of JET sort of fell into the background.
So how did you get into AJAT? And how long was that into trying to learn Japanese?
So after I did a little bit of just doing kana, enough to, recite them from the manga I had, I actually did things like wanikani, which I thought was really good at the time. And I did that for about 6 months, I think. But then I was enjoying myself. I really liked it. But then I saw one of the British Matt's AJAT video. Like, I saw his vlog randomly in my suggestions. I watched that and I went, this makes sense. And then that led me, of course, to this Matt. And then I watched those videos like, this makes sense. I literally cannot believe what I've believed up until this point. This explains so much of the problems I had. Like, wanikani, for example. It does teaching you vocabulary as you learn kanji. But the order of the kanji is the difficult, like the number of strokes in the kanji.
Yeah.
So which means like you have to spend like 6 months before it even shows you watashi. Like, you don't even learn me until like 6 months into it. Like, it's not it can't solve everything, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you just expose yourself to Japanese, like, you will know what's necessary really early on, and has nothing to do with the difficulty of writing it. So I switched that. It's a hard plan, whereas like I'm gonna do this for like the 18 months that Kat set out. Like, I read all of AJAT. Yeah. And I like said, I'm gonna do this as a project. I need to get stuff out of my room, and I just paused learning Japanese for like half a year just to set up my environment in my room and to remove everything English from it. And then I just went in there and I just became a massive hermit. And that's part of the reason why my hair's so long. and have a big beard by the time
in
I start.
your other videos.
Yeah, because when I first tried to make a vlog video, I saw myself for the first time in like a year and a half.
That's really funny.
And I was like, what year is it? It's like that meme of what year is it? Because like, God, I don't like how I look, but I hadn't looked at myself for so long. Like, I didn't have a job, and I was lucky to be supported for that task.
By family.
By my family. I also had some money from like grandparents that had passed, and so I was mainly putting money to that. So I was studying full time when I did my AJAT thing for 18 months. Full time, like 10 hours of active listening a day, taping my earphones to my ears when I slept.
Damn.
Having the awful, you have run out of charge in your like electronic charge earphones by the time I woke up because I've been sleeping for like 8 hours. It was the craziest thing I've ever done, and it's been an utterly formative experience for the person I am right now. It makes me way more confident because I know I can do something, and it's taught me that doing something crazy and out the ordinary is perfectly fine. Like, people will fight you all the way, and it's still probably the best thing you should do. Which is like, it's also the same when people come to me for advice. They say, like, Japanese Gary Ben, do you think this would be good? And I think I'm on the same level as you, where it's not that people come up with new theories that makes me upset. You just get disappointed when you hear like stuff that's not really outside the box, and they think they're moving outside the box. But if someone comes to me with something actually outside the box, they're like, I want to test this Japanese Gary Ben. If they ask me my opinion, I could be like, well, based on my experience, I don't have confidence in this, but that's unusual enough that you probably should do it. Like, you're going to be the most passionate person about this thing you want to try doing with language, so you should do it. Like, even if I don't think that it will work in the way you want, that's still data that everyone else can benefit from, and you still gave the thing you wanted to do your all. That's way better than, just staring at a textbook and grinding that out.
For sure.
So if it's actually outside the box, I think we should encourage people to do that, even if, like, if they want an honest review, we can say, I'm not confident in this, but, you should still try that if you think it's really going to work. Like, you don't need my permission.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people wanting permission. Like, I have a
That's
lot of people...
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, a lot of people come to me being like, hey, Matt, I don't want to take any of your advice. I want to do this thing that you say not to do, but I want you to like, give me approval to do it.
It's... If you're in our position and people come to you for advice, you realize that half of all language learning advice is not language learning advice. It's therapy. People want you to, like, encourage them as an authority, make them feel okay about themselves, and that's usually the biggest hurdle. People don't get results not just because they don't do the right thing, it's because they don't believe in their own right to get results. They think it requires permission, whether that be, a certification board, taking a class, or that language guru you happen to like on the internet. They think they could do that, and they think that, like, if it comes to a problem, they start bargaining. I just like, I can't give the language to you. I'm not an authority. Only you can give language to you. So if you try bargaining with me, it doesn't do anything. You're still the wrong mindset. It's all about what you do. It's all about picking stuff up and doing it. Like, I cannot make you learn the language, and I can also not stop you from learning the language. That was one of the best things about learning a language. People expect it to be a social thing. Like, you practice speaking with people early on or something. It's like, no, learning language was a great, like, goal and challenge and skill for me to learn at that time in my life, because it didn't require permission from anyone else. It didn't require resources or standardization. It only required me putting in my time. And that's why I think it's a really good growth tool if you want to do it as something that's a project to tell you, I can get this far by myself. And people just don't expect that of language because it's a social tool. So I think you have to really learn it socially. And you can, but you don't have to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's some good stuff. So I'm wondering, how good were you after that 18 months?
Better than I am now.
Really?
Because I put off so much during COVID, and I just like.
So this was what year that you started?
I started. It's in my bio, and I think it was June 2017. So I was done like 2019. Yeah, 2019. Because
even with speaking, like, so you at the end of 18 months, you hadn't really spoken Japanese before, right?
Every time I said it was Butsuke Honban. Like, I had no practice.
Yeah.
And when I was speaking after that to myself, the problem was because I didn't have speaking practice, it wasn't that I didn't understand what I was saying. It was that I was slipping over my tongue on simple things, and that was more like I needed the pitch accent like understanding that I didn't have because I honestly had done way too much reading. That's what I blame it on. Because it's easier to just take in a massive chunk of reading. So even if I knew that something sounded wrong and it was causing me to slip over my tongue because it was harder to say than the correct way of saying it, I had that problem. And that also sort of presented when I first got to Japan. I'm better at it now. I still make mistakes, but I also don't get angry at myself for making mistakes. Like, I managed to make Japanese friends and they're all pretty impressed. When I first talk to people here at certain parties where I live, people are like, do you have JLPT N1? Like, Japanese people were telling me this. Like, you could probably do it. Like, yeah, I believe I could. That's why I didn't bother. You know, that's how it was. So, like, I'm not the best speaker, but, like, I've done no specific speaking practice that isn't just talking to people. And by this point, I've been through a lot of Japanese interviews.
Well, I mean, that is...
It is speaking practice, but it's like I didn't sit by myself. I didn't do any shadowing. I should have taken your advice and recorded myself and then worked on that. Like, that's like the only thing that stopped me from doing that, quite honestly, it's pride. It's the embarrassment of hearing myself be so wrong and then having to fix it. That's the only reason I haven't done it. That's the core reason I haven't done it up to this point. There are so many other things I could blame it on, like it being COVID, like feel like I'm not going anywhere with my life. Like, those are things I could blame it on. But honestly, the reason why I think I'm better back then is the same reason why I said when I said to you a moment ago, my vocabulary is way down. Because I'm not doing the 10 hours a day, full time, staring at stuff. And in fact, my contact time went down from being in Japan.
I mean, mine did too, but I think that would surprise a lot of people. So.
Right, because you expect it to be free when you're in Japan. But the thing is, like, you're not having conversations with everyone. When you're outside, you're not constantly listening to something. So I didn't have, just for the sake of, like, hopefully not being, like, ruined for having ripped audio on my phone when I came in the airport, like, I just took it off. And so I'm not listening to, like, ripped anime when I'm here in Japan. So my contact time is really low.
Really?
When I first got here, I was just going out every single day to explore and get new experiences. And that was like the first 6 months was that.
And we should probably tell people you moved to Japan a year ago.
Well, yes, you say moved. It's a working holiday visa. I arrived at the start of August last year. But I did that specifically because it's a Digimon reference to appear at the 1st of August. But so my year in Japan is almost over, and once again, I cannot regret it. I'm so glad that Matt suggested it when I was leaving my last opportunity that I was at, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? So yeah, this was the way that I finally came to Japan, by doing a working holiday visa, which unfortunately Americans can't do, I hear. So go UK, or
Canada. Luckily, I can do it because I have Canadian citizenship because my dad's Canadian.
You cheat. I've never lived in Canada. Yeah, okay. So that's why you were doing it as well at some point. Like, so yeah, I took working holiday visa. Usually there's only 1,000 people a year that get into that, and I was worried because I was like applying really late, so they might have gotten all the positions already. But when I applied quite late in the year, it reset to April, like the fiscal year. There's 6,000 slots, like 6 times normal, and I was like, is this to make up for COVID?
Yeah.
So, I was pretty lucky. I got it. It's kind of a scary, very unceremonious process.
Oh, yeah?
Because, like, so you can only do it up to being 30.
Yeah.
It means that'd be the last time I'd be able to apply. So I applied then, and you basically give in, like, your reason to be there, and they also make you, like, put in some sort of plan for each month of what you're going to do, even though there's no way that they can make sure you honor it, and stuff changes. My plan did radically change. I didn't do nearly as much exploring as I did. I've only really been in Kanto.
I think they just want to arbitrarily make the bar a little higher so that they can show, like, they can think you're serious about it.
You make a statement of purpose, and mine was like 6 pages long when it only needed to be like a page, because it was just everything, including AJAT. And I didn't realize that when you get to it, like, the woman at the, like, what you call it, the reception, like, she just stands there reading it in front of you to make, for your own benefit, to make sure you haven't put any, like, weird mistakes in it. But I was not expecting to just stand here in silence as you read to yourself the thing I've poured my heart over for 6 pages, right? and then you wait a week, and they make you come back, and then they tell you whether or not you got it, and they just make you pay a fee, which is like, I can't remember how it was. It was very specific. It's like £17, like nothing, and you have to pay it in cash.
No, that's very
So
Japanese.
Right, and I'm in the Japanese embassy in the UK. There wasn't that many Japanese people there. The person serving me was an Indian woman. And then I did it perfectly, so that their change they had to give me was a £5 note. I'm still holding that £5 note. And they just go like, yeah, here's your visa, and they just stamp it into your passport. I was like, and then I walked out sort of just horshin jotai, because like they didn't congratulate me. Where do I put my feelings? What's the standard of my feelings right now? Am I supposed to feel lucky? Am I supposed to feel like I just bought something?
Yeah.
Like, are they happy that I'm representing the country?
They're probably just doing their job.
Exactly.
It
It feels like there's way less emotion involved in it than there should be.
They're
for
doing
something.
that all day, like
right?
They don't know any of these people. They're just stamping.
Right. I felt so like weirdly special and not at the same time. Like no one congratulated me on my way out or anything. Like just walked out and went, yeah, okay, I'm going to Japan. Send message to my family. Yeah, going to work. Yeah, come back home now on the train. Yeah,
because I know what you mean. Before you get it, you don't know. You can't really allow yourself to get excited.
Right.
But
and just like no one gave me permission to afterwards. It's so weird.
Well, glad it worked out.
Yeah.
And you want to stay here longer term, or at least come back and.
Yeah,
you don't want to just have this be your 1 year in Japan. Right?
It's true. Like, if anything, it's like, I mean, I planned to be here longer when I first came here.
Yeah.
But that's a bit crazy if you've never been there before. But if anything, being here has just confirmed that feeling to me. Like things are different than what I expected, sure, because I have a real image of Japan now. But it's just made me go, yeah, I would be fine living and working here for longer. Even if it's just in the same capacity of living in my current situation, because I really like my current situation. Because of COVID taking away like 4 or 5 years of my life, like the last 5 years of my 20s, and not knowing where I was going at the start of my 20s, like I just didn't have 20s, I feel like it's true for a lot of people in my generation. So like this 1 year has felt like the first time I'm like actually living in my 20s.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I actually felt really similar when I first moved to Japan. Not necessarily because of COVID, but just because of the way I happened to have lived my 20s. Like I spent most of my 20s in my room making YouTube videos. And that was fulfilling in its own way. I built up my YouTube video. I helped a lot of people learn Japanese. Like I learned a lot of stuff about how to run a business. But I was mostly just in my room. And as soon as I moved to Japan, I started mostly living outside my room. I kind of like went offline for a while.
It's a massive difference because, of course, this is the first time living in the city.
Yeah,
and I would have wanted to have lived in other cities. Like for me, London is just the stabby capital of my country. So like I don't want to go there. Like it's nice for a day trip sometimes. Like it was nice going to the embassy, and I went, okay, London's actually pretty nice. But like I wouldn't have like tried to get a job to move there. Yeah. So I lived my entire life in like one village in southeast England, like between London and the sea. Yeah. And it's a village entirely of elderly people and like parents with young families. So I immediately aged out of any like home demographic of friends or community once I came back from university, and I just failed to get out of that bubble, like failed to start my life. So this radical change to just transplanting myself to basically Tokyo has been so much better. And and I don't even consider that expensive. Like Japanese people consider what I pay for my current rent to be expensive, but I'm like, no.
You live in a share house, right?
Yeah, I live in a share house right now. And by the way, that's what I'd really recommend to anyone like going to Japan for like a set amount of time. Just the fact that you can come downstairs and you just have a community of people, both half Japanese and like other foreigners that are passionate about living and trying in Japan, is so great.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't think I could live with other people just because of my personality.
I've already had that set onto me. Like I've had a few arguments. Like there's one guy that's like, oh, I don't know if I would want to introduce you to like my work friends because you're a bit spicy or something like that. It's like I get it, but also the lines you draw that do that. It's like I don't know if I can introduce you to my gay friends. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean, bro? We have people in the house. That's fine. Yeah, so it's like that. you obviously will butt heads, but I feel like the sense of community is really good. Like people always
it totally makes sense.
People like the lounge is right next to the kitchen in my place, so people offer you food, and there's people from tons of different places, and like half of the people that are permanent workers there are like engineers, so they're like really smart people from their countries too, and like a lot of their communities are really like sharing and helpful, so they'll give you food and stuff. And there's, I don't know about all share houses, but mine at least has regular events, and as a resident you can even schedule your own and try and get some money from the share house.
I've been to a couple like share house events for other share houses I didn't live in. Like I've been invited to them. They do like takoyaki.
You can invite outside people.
Stuff.
Yeah, we have takoyaki parties
as well. I've been to some of those. They're fun. So
it's really great. I've even got like 3 more lined up before I leave at the end of this month.
Nice. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It can be hard to kind of bootstrap your life here from scratch. Like I was in a kind of a special circumstance because through my work I had so many like actually my friend group expanded the moment I like landed here on the ground, because I had made all these connections through YouTube.
And now you meet them in person.
Yeah, like all these people that were online friends immediately became IRL friends the second I got here. But that's probably not going to be the case for everyone, right?
I was sort of expecting that to happen. I mean, I don't have a lot of IRL friends in Japan, but I was sort of expecting to meet more influencers, I guess. But I don't have my own umbrella because I just don't post anything.
To meet them?
I don't know. I thought you were going to introduce me to some people or something.
I mean, I could have if you said something. I mean,
I said something a while ago, but like it's not your responsibility. But like I think
the thing, like, you weren't really actively making content. Like if you're actively making content, then it's easier. It actually doesn't matter like how many subscribers you have or how many views you get. It's kind of like if you're making content, I feel like other creators respect other creators that are actually making content. Because so many people say that they're gonna make content, they want to make content, but then
I've been that guy for too long.
Although I have as well, for the last couple of years. But
I just think, I'm a bit. I guess I take advantage of other people's kindness too much. Even in the past when I was doing smaller content that was not related to Japanese, just with friends and stuff, it was always on someone else's channel. But yeah, it's my responsibility to make my own content. Nobody has to front me.
The other thing is, though, like making content, I feel like when you watch vlogs or you watch these videos of people going out and making videos about their life in Japan, it looks like, oh, you're just living your life and you happen to turn on the camera. But in reality,
it's a lot of editing.
And even there, like you're like, okay, you're thinking about the angle. You're like, oh, let's retake that one more time. Like, oh, can you film me do this?
You're not enjoying. You're not in the moment.
Yeah,
you have to. It's a full dedication.
Yeah, and so I think when you first moved here, like I'm actually really glad that I spent my first couple years here not making content, because it allowed me to fully be present for my experience here, right? I knew if I was thinking about the content, it would feel like I'm just using Japan as like a giant prop, like a giant background for my content, not really experiencing it
That's
fully.
one of the reasons why I didn't make the sort of like daily vlog content that you see a lot of places, because I feel like that's something I considered, but once I got here, I was just so against the idea of just recording in public, like the possibility of catching random bystanders like in the background of what I was doing. It felt really unfair and rude.
In Japan, a lot of people would not appreciate that.
Exactly. So, but like, also, I settled for taking pictures, and as we talked a moment ago, I don't even take selfies. There's not even that many pictures that are proof that I'm in Japan, because I'm just taking pictures of other stuff.
Yeah, same. Actually, I even forget to take pictures of other stuff. I'm like trying to remind myself to take more pictures.
Yeah.
I also feel like the thing of just like making vlogs of living in Japan has just been so overdone.
Yeah, like, you need a new angle, and I feel like my angle is definitely going to be like a day in the life of a person in Japan who knew Japanese before they got here, that sort of thing. And I can still do that, but yeah, it's for so long I've just been like, I need a job, and that hasn't been taken off yet. So like I just haven't been even dedicating time to the idea of making content. Even if maybe if I had fully committed to making content, I'd make some money off that by this point. But I just wanted to like have a stable situation before I try anything else first.
I think
failed at doing that because I've been a terrible person when it comes to shukat. Like it's trauma for me. Like I mentioned that period after university. It's like having trouble finding a job again now feels like reliving the worst parts of that period again. And it's just like, I'm useless. I have no value. What do I even offer? Like, people compliment me, and then I apply for something, then nothing happens, Yeah,
that's hard. Luckily, I've never had to go through that. But I know, I think I would be terrible at it. That's why I'm glad I don't have to. Like, I'm not cut out for getting hired by someone else.
I feel like it's sort of one of those close the door, open a window situations where I just haven't fully committed to the window, I've just been going to the next door.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily bad. Actually, I think it's good to, when you move here, to actually get a real job
Yeah.
for a while and work at a Japanese company or something, like, a lot of me wishes that I did that. Not badly enough that I'm actually going to do it. But most people that I know that are like full-time creators or running their own business, they started off just being an employee of another company.
Right.
And you learn so much doing that, right? About Japanese culture, because like that work part of the culture is such a deep part of the culture. You know, I think when you work in a Japanese company, they hold you to the same standard as everyone else. And that really forces you to learn really deeply about what, how Japanese culture really works. And it goes, language goes up and stuff. So I wish I had that experience. I regret not having it. I think it's definitely worth having, even if you don't want to do it long term, because in a lot of ways it sucks because you're getting overworked and underpaid, and
Yeah. I mean, I think my pay when I do sell on a job will probably be okay. But yeah, there's definitely part of that for a lot of people, I think, that will slap them out of the gaijin bubble sort of mindset. And I wasn't really in that at all. I hadn't allowed myself to do that since I got here. The first time I felt like I was in a gaijin bubble sort of situation was actually, I started networking like a couple months ago, and it's just people who are working in Japan who are like mostly foreigners. And it's such a weirdly positive environment. Like, I felt reinvigorated from being around these people, but at the same time I was like, what do you mean I can't find a job in Japan and you've been here for like 20 years and have a wife and children, you don't speak Japanese, and you run your own business? What the hell? Give me your wife. Give me your Japanese. Where's my Japanese wife? What the hell? You don't speak Japanese. Your kids speak better Japanese than you. Why am I here? It's like all of the jealousy sort of just runs back when it's just like, surely there's some part of me that deserves this more, That's how it feels. That's how Kyoshi it is.
Well, you can figure it out. You just got to approach it the same way you learn Japanese, right? Like you said, no one gave you Japanese for free. You worked your ass off.
Exactly.
For it, right? So
exactly.
I think the thing is that like Japanese is one piece of the puzzle, but because you have Japanese, you're not gonna get all that other stuff for free. You need to work equally as hard for your relationships, your job, your business, anything.
But it really sucks when I get here and like I'm the only person in the share house that like has like proper Japanese ability before they got here. And then when I try to find a job and Japanese people are just like, oh, you need more skills. Like, I believe you, but also like it's like you can't like just get a job just with Japanese. Like, you can, and I'm aiming for those sort of jobs because I'm a translator. Like, that's sort of what I've dedicated myself to at this point. So it's also feel really weird when they say that to me. It's like, because like, okay, if you added something else, it'd be really good. Maybe then, like, I tried to do jobs for the share house where I've like be an interpreter because there were events where a Japanese person was leading it and they weren't good enough at English to help all the other people. I was like, okay, I've set up an agreement that you can pay me for future events, to be an interpreter for these things. Oh, that'd be really good. Never call me back. Never. These events are still going on. Never call me back. And then when I talked to like my friends, like the semi-manager of the building, and he's like, yeah, well, just like you need like something more to offer them. It's like, what do you mean? That's literally solving their issue. And it's like, you need to like have another skill and then it'll be really strong. I know this. I tried to train in programming at one point because that'd be really strong in Japan. But like, it feels really like, it make like bad for me. Like, makes me kind of angry when I hear it because it's like a random Japanese person who's just an office worker with no specialized skills would be considered like to have taken a massive step up if they just knew a decent amount of English. How am I not at least that level? If there's a situation where it's no skills plus a language, then surely I'm the same level as those impressive aspiring office workers. So why would you even say this to me, right? That's how it feels.
Yeah, that's really hard. I mean, like I said, I haven't been through that process, but I know a lot of Japanese people really.
So it's all kyario sayo. It's all stuff in the middle, and some big companies.
Oh, so you're already basically starting with a big disadvantage there. Oh, hold on. Is it?
What?
Oh, never mind. I guess it's fine. Yeah.
So like,
someone's offering to give you their wife in the comments there. Is she Japanese though?
Is she Japanese? Well, yeah, great, cool, lovely. Why would you be for that, bro? We don't have an extra chair for you to watch.
But I'm curious about your Japanese. So you must have gotten better at speaking after living here for a year. You're interacting with Japanese people a lot, like
it's I've gotten better in the sense that it flows better, and I even if I notice myself make mistakes, like I forgive myself. Even in interviews, I had a lot of mistakes. But fine, if you want to start speaking Japanese, I should have brought alcohol first to make me more calm. But if you want to start doing Japanese, that's fine by me.
I mean, I was planning that we'd speak a little Japanese. We don't have to do it yet because there's still more to talk about. But when you said you thought you were the best, like, to date, after your initial 18-month period,
yeah.
Do you mean, so is that including speaking? Or is that mostly on comprehension? Like, what?
I think comprehension and saying things fluently. Like, the actual speech, like, the ability for it to sound correct was off. But my ability to say things off the cuff, without having to think about it.
If you were going to have a text chat, you could have done that really well.
Yeah, and I can still do text chat relatively well now because it allows you a degree of stopping and thinking.
Okay.
So I'm way more verbose in text because when I talk to someone, like, one-on-one, or if I, like, in the pressure of, like, even a net interview where it's with a webcam and stuff, like, I have so much extra vocabulary or even just correct answers that I'm looking for that slip my mind in the moment. And that's because I haven't done any hard training, like, recently. I just take it as it comes. Like, I haven't done Anki in a few years now, and it's the same reason that you didn't. But I think for me, it was more of, like, I think it ruined my patterns because it really grounded me in making sure that I was, you know, covering the same ground that I was before. So in the future, I've thought, like, I'm probably gonna get back to my Anki deck just to drill it back into me. But I think the thing that I really valued highly when I first finished AJAT, if you can call it finishing, was just the moment to moment, like zap of lightning level of production. Like, even speaking sounded bad, it was still a correct it was still a grammatically correct sentence, and it was still exactly what I wanted to say.
So basically everything but pronunciation
was way better, whereas now my pronunciation is better but my vocabulary is way lower, and I have a little less of the immediate response. Like, for a standard sort of conversation, I can do a little, like, fill in words and have an immediate response, or, like, cut someone off to make a joke in a lot of ways. But, like, there's so many parts where I'm just like, when I go back and think about the conversation later, I'm like, why didn't I say that word? Or, oh, I confused that word and this word, and stuff like that. Like, I feel myself making more mistakes, and part of that is just because I wasn't really talking to anyone before, and part of that is because I just don't have the super drilled in, like, Anki repetition anymore. So it's way more just winging it.
And were you thinking when you came here, like, let me just try living my life in Japan and see what happens? Or were you like, I want to focus more on enjoying my life rather than trying to improve my Japanese right now?
At the time, it was mostly a career thing. Like, I wanted to make as many connections as possible to hopefully fall into something. Because I thought that would be the same mindset of giving my all to something and letting the results come. Whereas if I allow myself to become anxious over the results, they actually come harder, is what I was thinking. So when I first got here and I had, like, some money from, again, family members who had passed away, like, I was like, I didn't have a budget. I was just going to go out, try and connect with as many people as possible, and then let that lead into something. So it was a career thing. And I just let myself, you know, win or lose on the moment of communicating with people.
Although I think that's probably a good thing to do when you first move here. I was the same way. Like, when I first came here, I wasn't thinking about improving my Japanese. I was just, let me finally enjoy what I spent so many years building up.
But it'd been so long that I didn't even, like, even during COVID, it'd been so long since I learned Japanese that Japan itself had stopped sort of feeling like a goal. Like, there was a time during COVID where, because I had to leave my job to, you know, protect my family from COVID at the time, I was studying some programming. I had some projects. I was like, this is going to be how I get myself into Japan, by doing programming, and then, like, applying for a job for that. And I just fell off because I realized that I was not being true to myself in it. Like, I like programming conceptually and learning the basics.
Why didn't you do what people always say to do in programming, which is just have a project you want to do?
Exactly. I tried to. That's what I shifted to. That's what I allowed myself to do. I actually read Okamoto Taro's like, Shibun no Naka ni Doko o Mote.
Oh, I've always wanted to read that book. I always flip through it when I'm at a bookstore.
I have only read like a few chapters of it, and, like, I was so tense of, like, focused on programming, sort of denying myself in a way that I hadn't really realized.
You didn't have the doku? You needed the more doku?
Yeah, honestly, I just like cried a bit and then stopped doing what I was doing, and then I haven't even read the rest of that book, but it's a really good book about life being about, there's easy choices and hard choices, and easy choices won't necessarily get you where you want to be, and just take the harder way if it's the thing you actually believe. And I was like, yes. So I gave myself projects and ideas, and I've even got some projects now. If it takes me a long time to find a permanent Japanese job whilst I'm back in the UK, whilst I'm waiting on applications and stuff, I am going to start programming again, but it's not going to be web dev. It's going to be personal stuff. I've got into mahjong really recently, as I've discussed, and I wanted to make some app with house rules, and mahjong apps are really popular now, but I wanted to make just my own one where you could put any sort of house rules and different types of hands you want, and it basically just be GitHub mahjong player. So I thought that'd be a good project. So I have ideas for projects and I want to be true to them, but I just didn't have the timing up at this point. It stopped being a focus, and right now I'm very much a translator, and part of that is also because of Matt's help from a random talk we had one day when I was posting on Twitter about getting slightly better at pitch accent, and he contacted me and we had a back and forth, as we occasionally do. Our relationship is not oh, let's go hang out and stuff. It's more like he'll see me post one thing one day and then he'll send a message to me, and then we'll talk for 8 hours straight with no gap, and be like, yeah, good talk, and then we won't talk to each other for months. That's what happens.
Yeah, but you were doing that translation job for a while, right?
I did it for a bit of a year.
Yeah, there was this Japanese company that was working with Japanese influencers that were trying to kind of break into the English market, and so they needed people to help them translate some of the Japanese content into English. And I was doing it for a little bit, but it was just taking up too much time, and I wanted to focus on my own content. But I felt bad just dropping them, because when I first met them, they were lost in the dark. They were hiring Japanese people that had no command of English and having them translate into English, and there was
it was for comedy stuff as well.
It was worse than Google Translate. I was why are you I was you need a native English speaker that also speaks Japanese, and they're how am I gonna find one of those? And I'm okay, I gotta know at least somebody. Yeah. And then I introduced you.
You messaged me, and I've ever been interested in being a translator, and I remember my exact response at the time was I originally planned to do that as an extension of getting good at Japanese and doing JET program and what I would do afterwards. I've mentioned in my original diary that being a translator was kind of the goal, but I also said that I wouldn't be willing to go back to university for it. So it was kind of the perfect opportunity to get some experience without going I'm going to go and learn translation theory. And what I've learned of translation theory from seeing actual translators post on Twitter is I don't really want to learn translation theory. It just seems to be a thing where translators use it as an excuse to explain to users why their choice in a translation can't be considered a mistake. And it's just you don't That's need really that if you actually understand the language. There's no interpretation issue, really. And yeah, these videos that I was churning out, I churned out the script for 100 of them within a year.
Yeah, and these are short form videos. Right?
Yeah, they were short form stuff. We're talking TikTok level, and but 1.5 minutes long at the most, maybe. And yeah, but it's all comedy. So even if you're a really good translator that's Japanese, really good at English, it's this theory of you should always get a native speaker for the target language, because even if you're really good at the target language, like a Japanese person that's really good at English or an English person that's really good at Japanese, the last 10% is what really matters for a good translation to make it feel natural, and especially you're going to feel that in comedy because it's all about timing. And even though it's really fast content, you've got to consider the timing and how it gets delivered. And of course we know the classic problems of this sentence becomes longer or shorter in one language or another. So there's a lot of fun, creative things to do. So I don't regret the experience, but I did end up leaving that company because I was just it's one of those situations where I'm carrying this translation on my back now. And I'm not making
right?
They're making a small company, but they had a lot of big clients. And
yeah.
And when I've met them I came to Japan and actually had dinner with some of them, and they paid for my dinner. I felt emasculated because I came prepared to pay for I asked you out, funny. And they paid for me.
Oh,
and
really?
It's and they're not offering me a job. It's so if you found a baito, and screw you, man.
Oh yeah, when I very first I had totally forgotten about this. When I very first came to Japan, the guy who runs the company like took me out to Roppongi and like.
Oh, for me it was the woman directly above me. She's the one I went out with.
Yeah, I mean, he paid for my whole dinner, and I was psyched. I was like, lucky.
Right, but like I was the one contacting her to be like, you know, like you offered to see when we've been in Japan. Like, I'm in Japan, let's go. And they set a place, and it was nice, and just felt like, I'm never gonna get any work out of these people again, and I don't really want it, I guess, because I'm the one that left. I'm the one.
So this was after you left.
Yeah, it was after.
They still met you. That's nice.
It's nice, but it feels like sort of that like. It feels like meeting your ex. And your ex being like, look at the cool clothes I'm wearing. Look how much free money I could. And it's just like, you guys did, like, at the start, it was just translating a certain number of videos. But my responsibilities increased, like, for lots of challenges that were really nice. But my pay increased. But also, they weren't really willing to go over a certain hurdle. So that's what made me ultimately leave. Because I was like, you guys don't understand. If you don't, like, permanently hire me and move me to Japan, I literally cannot pay rent on the amount you pay me.
And what did they say about that? They're just like, it's not in our budget?
It was kind of like, with one thing, technically part-time as a freelancer, like there's tons of days I didn't work, but I can't plan for those because it's just whether or not they ask me to do stuff. So I started like itemizing things in my Seikyu short, and it's like after a certain point it's like, oh, it's going over our agreement. It's like, and I didn't want to just like, eventually it was becoming like botakuri from my end. Yeah. And I didn't want to do that. It just felt bad. And it was my first time as a freelancer trying to figure out how much I'm willing to give to each one of these things. Yeah. And I was like, I could either go back to the old thing where I just do the amount of videos I was originally doing for this amount, and it's my responsibility for not having other clients. It's not your fault that you can't pay for my whole life with just the money you're giving me. But you require such a emergency level response for certain tasks that you would need to be able to fund like me working for you. So when it came to like, please, like from the start, I actually was like, I really like this company. I like doing this. Is there any way I could do this like permanently? And you hire me, and they were like, they'd never hired a foreigner before, so it's a tax situation, you know. They said that, or it's like, also you had to be willing to work like 12 hours a day. And I'm like, I know you mean that in the sense of like being available 12 hours a day, but my immediate response is 12 hours a day. That doesn't sound legal.
For a visa, it could be worth it.
It could be worth it, but I felt like I didn't sell them enough on that, and it just became a situation where, you know, when you get hired for a certain amount, it's way harder to convince them later that they should pay you more.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, I wanted to find another client and change, but I just couldn't find
gone
one.
Like all in. Yeah. On that one company.
Yeah, and so I should have cut down the amount, made it less emergency, and found more clients. That's my responsibility as a freelancer at that point. Couldn't find other clients, didn't know how to, cut it off, felt in a bad mood, talked to Matt. Matt was like, yeah, go to Japan. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'll go find clients in Japan. And that didn't exactly work. I got close a few times going around to find people that need help with translation. But also, I could have gone harder. Like, I've realized I talk to people better when I'm out in the world if I'm out with a friend. Because it feels less one-to-one grilly, and it's more like a party.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've picked up way more line ads from going out with like a friend that was visiting Japan and just going to a place and drinking and then talking to the guy next to us.
Yeah, for
than
sure.
I have going out 6 months by myself. So part of it is just I still haven't become the social butterfly I wanted to, even though I've made so much progress just by being here.
I mean, it's hard to go and make friends from scratch. I mean, most people can't do that. Even Japanese people struggle with that.
It's true, but you kind of had the you have the gaijin punch.
You can do it, actually. Right. I mean, I've been pretty successful. I mean, I don't like to go out alone either. Yeah. It feels kind of weird. I normally also go out with friends. But going out with friends, I've spontaneously made tons of friends.
Yeah.
While I'm out.
It's more, what I meant more like is doing a cold approach, I think is easier as a foreigner. Because if you're a Japanese person, there's this expectation of like, why is this random guy approaching me? As a foreigner, it's like, is this guy going to ask me directions? Maybe I'll help him. Oh no, I don't speak English. What do I do? And then when you speak Japanese to them, like, oh, okay, we can just talk normally. Good. Thank goodness. Yeah. Thank goodness. For sure. And so it's actually, I think it's a sad story, but I think it's easier to socialize in Japan as a foreigner approaching Japanese people.
I mean, I think it's easier to get your foot in the door. Yeah. But it's harder to turn that into like a real genuine relationship.
Rather than just like, I'll learn some English off of this
like,
guy.
There's a lot of people willing to have a conversation with you.
Yes.
But like someone that is going to text you back and make time to meet up with you, you know, is harder. But you can definitely do it. And I've done it many times and made a lot of friends like that way.
Yeah.
But yeah. Don't worry too much about the comments over there.
I'm not thinking about comments. I'm thinking more about the time. Like if want to still cover a lot of things, we can keep going. Like, I have no time limit, but
what are the main other topics you want to cover? I have the JLPT in my mind as another one, but
that's mainly it, I think. JLPT.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about that, and then we can talk in Japanese a little bit. I'm sure everyone wants to hear.
Oh, great.
Us speak Japanese.
I really should have drunk some alcohol before I got here. It makes it easier to speak Japanese.
The Monster doesn't do it.
This Monster, like, it gives me more energy, but like I think the core bit of it is just turning my brain off actually makes it way easier to speak Japanese. Have you found that? Because when you're in your head, you're like, no, fuck it. When you're in, I think it's something that I think learners will more relate to than maybe Matt, but like, there's some old vlogs where people are like, if you want to talk to Japanese people, get drunk and then talk, and then you won't care about how bad you are. That's true, and it's all the same thing, but it's more like, I can access the instinctual part of my brain better if I can turn off my thinking part of it.
Well, that's actually interesting. Like, I was just reading Stephen Krashen's book. You want to hand me that book? Like, I was reading this book. It's The Natural Approach by Stephen Krashen, translated into Japanese. I'm like, I want to start making more videos in Japanese about language learning, so I've been reading this for, like, input. And he was talking about how, when he talks about the monitor hypothesis, how there's 3 different types of monitor users. There's monitor underusers, monitor overusers, and monitor, like, tekiyosha or something, ideal
people adjusting to the monitor.
People who use the monitor the perfect amount.
Yeah.
So I am naturally that category. Like, I just use the monitor. So basically, the monitor, to like make it, if anyone's not familiar, is like when you're going to say something pops into your head, and you can just say whatever popped into your head, or you can use your kind of conscious mind to analyze it, make sure there's no mistakes.
Yeah.
Make sure the grammar is right or whatever. You can do that. And so what Stephen Krashen is saying, some people they never do that, and they don't. It's very hard for them to do that. Like, but naturally, unless they put in a lot of effort, that just never happens. They just blurt out whatever comes to mind.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot of people. There's probably more people in this category. It sounds like you're kind of in this category where by default you want to do it too much. You don't have enough faith in just what comes. You're like, can't help yourself but to overanalyze and overthink it. And some people like me, I use it to the exact extent that I'm able to without it like interrupting me or slowing me down. So as soon as like I don't have enough mental bandwidth, I don't do it. When I have mental bandwidth, I do it. So basically, I only use it when it's going to help me, and it never really hurts me. And for whatever reason, that's always came naturally to me. It seems like it doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, but I'm sure if you practice, you can build that as a skill.
Yeah. See, to me, the ideal state of the language is the first one. It's the one where you just,
of course,
you blurt it out, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
And I find that when I have like the monitor on and I'm thinking about it, actually worse. Not just because I'm thinking too hard, but because what I'm naturally feeling is actually more correct than the second guessing that comes. And the second guessing usually comes from things like some remaining of some consciousness of some grammar rule, and it's like, that's not actually important to the phrase I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's also like a sign of old, like, Kyokasho poison, having the book and having the rule thing. We go like, oh, but it's supposed to work from this rule. And like, that's actually holds you back in some ways, because if you let that like scratch the back of your brain, then you like don't allow yourself the freedom of the thing you've actually learned and got used to. So I think it helps me speak from the confidence and the relaxation of alcohol, which you will do a lot here in Japan. I wasn't a drinker before I came to Japan.
Oh yeah, that happened to me too.
And now it's drink whenever you go outside and stuff like that. So it makes it easier just to turn stuff off and not be able to access something better, because you are just sort of in the zone. It works both on an anxiety level, when you think about being present is probably the best way to explain it. Like, if you understand, like, sort of, not to say therapy talk, but there are a lot of channels now that are more focused on, I don't know, self-improvement in a way for like anxious people. I've watched some English content on this lately, actually, and it's more like, are you actually enjoying the moment, or are you analyzing yourself enjoying the moment? And it's kind of the same thing like of that for the language. So if you are actually in the moment, you stop caring, you hit runner's high, and it doesn't matter. But every time I have to like code switch from one language to another, like even in interviews, sometimes when it's a bilingual person, like a foreigner doing the interview process for me, and they're like, okay, let's try speaking some Japanese. I'm like, could you start? Because if I start by myself, it feels like I'm voice acting. You know, it feels like I'm trying too hard. But if we hit the flow and we're talking, right, and it's been a few minutes, it's not a problem at all, right? It's just because I know I have something to respond to. Yeah. But it's like a moment ago when you're showing me your keyboard and like your new typing system, be like, give me a phrase to say. I'm like, I could react to you talking to me. Yeah. But like just inventing something myself and just going on it in Japanese is
I feel like that used to happen to me more. Like over time, you know, it hasn't really been an issue. I still feel like if I'm gonna have a social interaction with somebody, I might perform the best all in all if I've had like 1 or 2 drinks, because it helps with the social anxiety. Yeah. For the actual linguistic performance, I think it just hurts me. Yeah. Because, you know, it just makes you less sharp. And so, you know, if I was going to film a video to the camera and it's just me, then I don't, you know, there's no...
there's no reason
I'm going to do the best when I'm sober, but...
Because you can also edit it and, like, there's less embarrassment for it.
Yeah. Whereas if I'm going to go talk to somebody, then I might have, like, you know, some nerves, right? Whereas if I have 1 or 2 drinks, I'm just, like, super confident. It helps with that overall. And 1 or 2 drinks doesn't help, you know, it doesn't hurt the language that much. I mean, what I find is when I mean,
it's not even 1 or 2, it's literally, like, 2 sips of the first can.
Oh,
like,
yeah?
That's
then it's probably just a placebo.
It's maybe. But,
yeah. I mean, for me, like, I find that when I'm really drunk, I feel like I'm speaking, like, completely, like, I feel like I'm, like, Hiroyuki, like, or I'm just, like...
I'm a god! I'm the language...
But I don't think I objectively am.
If you record yourself back, you'd be like, oh,
what?
No.
That's how I sound like? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Because I've had people tell me that, like, my technical accuracy, like, my pitch accent accuracy, like, goes down when I'm really drunk.
That's understandable.
But I don't notice it, you know.
Isn't part of that just because, like, you do put some level of thought still in pitch accent when you speak, and you're just not going to do that when you're drunk? Yeah.
I mean, I try to, but I don't have the capacity to as much. Although I will say that one thing, like, overall, I don't think my Japanese has really gotten better, but things have shifted, and one of the things that has gotten better specifically is my intuition for pitch accent has gotten a lot better. Like, I'm still kind of watching out for pitch when I speak, but it's less like I'm remembering the rule and more like I just know it's supposed to sound. And when I make a mistake, I can hear that it sounded wrong less than I have the rule so I know it must be wrong.
The thing that I've been really shifting to lately has been more like mimicking what it sounds like to me to get the more accurate sound rather than trying to convince myself that I understand where the drops are, etc. Because that way you can technically do it accurately, but it is harder to remember as an experience because once you sort of move away from that moment of hearing it, like you can sort of recycle it in your head a little bit. But again, it's for me, it still feels like a thing where you turn on the switch and you open up your capacity to hear it more. Yeah. Like the day you contacted me a while ago when I was doing pitch accent was because I was watching a thing on Discord with a friend, like streaming something, and he's very cooperative with me, so he'll like find the Japanese dub just as a fun thing. So watching like Japanese dub of Ninja Turtles or something, and like I was just stopping, like, there's the drop again. I was like, I didn't know, because maybe it was because it was voice acting that it was so easy, but I also found that like sometimes when I'm tired and I'm about to go to bed, like when you become a bit more irritable, that has helped me hear like pitch accent better in those hours just before I'm going to go to bed, because I feel like I respond to the information more viscerally. Well,
I mean, I feel like sometimes when your conscious mind becomes fatigued, you get a similar effect to the alcohol. Sometimes you can get out of your way more and let the more intuitive part of your brain do more of the work.
That's also true.
Actually, I've like read some research on this, that it's been a couple of weeks since I read it, so I probably won't be able to like remember it accurately. But basically, when there's certain types of statistical learning, which is like basically like unconscious pattern recognition, which actually goes up when they purposely fatigue the conscious mind.
Oh, like when they show that people are less likely to make mistakes reading if you make the font a hard font to read.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like if you turn it into a cursive font, people make less mistakes reading because they convince themselves they need to pay more attention.
Well, that's almost the opposite.
I mean, it's almost the opposite, I guess.
But like, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, because they're different mechanisms, right? Like here,
because it is. But I mean, like, it's fatiguing you. It's like it's causing you to feel more fatigued because it's taking more energy. So in that sense, it's also helping you not make mistakes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's like, you know, different modes of attention, right? There's the kind of laser focused spotlight type of attention, which requires a lot of effort. Yeah. And then there's the broad kind of like your brain's just taking everything in and processing like a lot of it unconsciously. So I feel like when you pay more attention, that helps that focus kind of. When you're like, read this and don't make any mistakes, it's probably that focus type. Whereas when you're literally so fatigued that you're just like, okay, I can't think about anything, my brain's fried.
Yeah.
Sometimes actually more pattern recognition happens unconsciously because when you're in that laser focus mode, your brain actually actively suppresses
your blindness.
Like, yeah, in order to do better at whatever's in the spotlight, it actively suppresses the background.
Like what's that phrase? Basha-uma or something?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Not Basha-uma because that's.
Yeah, it's Basha something.
There's
like
like
you are literally the horse, but like it's.
There's one of like having the horse blinders on.
Yeah, it's the horse
right?
blinders, exactly. It's so it's implying that you're rushing forward so hard that you're not picking up the details. You're missing everything else.
Yeah,
and it's often used for like people who are literally working. I think that reminds me.
What that phrase is, but
you could probably look it up in your dictionary.
I know, but
does it have colloquial phrases in them?
I mean, I'm sure it's in the dictionary, but you have to know what to start with, right?
I'm pretty sure it starts with ba for Basha.
Well, I mean, it'd probably be easier to look it up. but anyway,
okay.
Like, how's the? Want to tell us about how the JLPT went? So you took N1.
Yeah, so I took N1 after I wrote that rant on Twitter that no one read because it was in Japanese, about how I'm never going to take the N1 unless I'm forced, basically at gunpoint by a company. No company has forced me, but like. Even you said to me ages ago where it was like, you should probably take it just to get out the way because it would probably really help. And it kind of does. For job opportunities. Because if you've seen the job opportunities here, sometimes it's written in English, sometimes it's in Japanese. But they'll be like, the required Japanese level must be native, brackets, JLPT N1. And like every time I'm just like, lol. JLPT N1 is treated as the native level line. So I was just against it, as I'm against a lot of tests, as you are as well, but I don't actually know if your reasons are the same as mine. But one of mine is, of course, there's, as people will probably say to me, one of them is a pride issue. But the other parts are like, it's just like, I don't want to focus on the test. I don't want to legitimize the test. I don't want to feel like I need a test to prove something to myself. Because if you're good at the language, you wouldn't need the test to tell you.
Yeah.
Right. If you're someone that's like, ooh, I hope I'm good at Japanese. I hope I've become good at Japanese. I need the test to tell me. Then the test isn't for you, I don't think. Like, even though that's the biggest market of people trying to use it because it's such a standardized test, which is very unfortunate.
I can't find what the phrase is. But anyway, no, I agree with you. Like, the reason why I have a big problem with it is because most people learning Japanese try to use the JLPT as their curriculum.
Yeah.
The path they're going to follow from start to fluency or whatever, and it's a terrible curriculum. Like, absolutely terrible. Like, it's designed for, if you want to be able to function in, like, a Japanese office, and even then it doesn't do a good job of doing that. So there's people who their goal is to be able to speak conversational Japanese, and they're like, okay, I finished the N5 words, time to learn the N4 words. It's like, and then there's just the idea of, like, I need a curriculum made by some god of Japanese that somehow has knowledge that can't be obtained elsewhere to like tell me what to learn.
Now you have permission to say you're good.
Yeah,
it's like if you can read and watch TV, fine. Like, you don't need permission from anyone.
I think it's just basically a giant case of Stockholm syndrome from the school system. It's like everyone hated going to school, didn't learn anything, had a terrible time, and was like, finally, I'm out of school. Time to learn something on my own. Let me do it exactly what I did in school. I need a curriculum. I need tests. I need teachers.
I need to view language as a subject in school and nothing else.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it makes sense. That's all we've done. That's all we know. So it's our default go-to.
I know so many people who even learning Japanese like in college. Like, some people will ask me for help, who are my like acquaintances, and I give them help through tests. And it was like a bit painful, like for both of us, because like it's like, what's the answer to this one? But like, it's this one. Like, why? Because it's the right one. That's the only perspective I could give. That was how I was expecting to take the JLPT. Like, it's a multiple choice test.
Yeah.
I don't have to write anything. You don't have to speak.
Yeah, just comprehension.
It's just you tick a box to say, is it A, B, C, or D? And like a lot of their homework was like that. And that's how I expected to do it, because when I ages ago like tried a fan made like JLPT study app, I stopped like a few questions in because I was like, this, like, they've programmed this wrong. This answer is wrong. And I realized that to me, the ability to get the answer right because my learning is based on immersion, isn't based on like memorizing rules where you have to, in class, prove your understanding by describing and demonstrating rules. It was just, I know this one's right because it's the only one that's grammatically correct, and they would ask you, if this was a class environment, well, why are the other ones wrong? It's like, because those don't exist. That's the only answer I could give, but that wouldn't be good enough for a class environment. But that's actually good enough for pretty much anyone, including a native. They go, this one looks wrong. That's all the answer you really need. So there was a lot of that when it came to seeing people who just quit because, unfortunately, they saw even learning this new cool Japanese thing as a matter of, turn up the aircon, please. Sweating into the back of your chair. They saw...
Yeah, I was going to say, that is what it was.
It's so plain.
You basically had
it. Basically
I remember there being something, that's probably the dictionary, because I was like, wait, isn't it something specifically about the like blinders? But that must just be in the definition.
It's just the yo part. It's just like someone, like...
Yeah, the thing is...
Like the horse.
It says it in the dictionary. When you look it up, then it says, basao, like, here it has it, like, oi o tsukete, mai igai, mienai you ni shite aru koto.
Right, but it doesn't have the phrase in it. Oh, it says there, right there.
Yeah,
the example phrase is the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it, guys.
That was it.
Yeah.
And so I know tons of people that, like, I want to get Japanese even as an adult, and they just go, I only want to get a passing grade on this Japanese class so I can never look at it again because I hate it now, because I've hated how I've interacted with Japanese. I associate it with all these awful tests where I feel like I don't understand the right answer, where I look at it and go, we studied this months ago, and yet I don't remember it, I don't know it, why shouldn't I know it? But like, to me, I wrote like posts about that, like about that mindset. It's like, say you added someone online, like, because you met them like a couple months ago, and you just didn't follow that up after any months, and it's like, why are they not still my friend? Why have they erased me from line? It's that for language. You can't go, I've learned a thing once, now I have it, now it's mine, you know? You have to be like consistently like giving to it, and like they just didn't necessarily get that. You know, you go to a class, you study it, and like they never went back to it, and like, how have I forgot this? How could I forget the understanding of this?
Yeah, I mean, luckily I've been away from those people for a really long time because, like, you know, I have my YouTube channel. I talk about, you know, how to do real language learning. So I only deal with the people that come to me. Although when I first moved to Japan for the first year, I was going to a college in Osaka where I had to take Japanese classes with other foreign exchange students. And so, yeah, I was with those people. But, I mean, the way I think about it is they don't really want to learn Japanese. That's just how I think about it. So, like, as soon as I used to think of them as they want to learn Japanese and they're doing it wrong and they're not going to reach their goal. That was really painful for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know how to you can meet your goal. You need
right,
but you're not.
You get so invested in them so passively.
But then I switched the way I thought about it to like, oh, they don't really want to learn Japanese. They're just kind of
they want to learn a different thing that they've put in their head.
Yeah, I mean, I think like they want to feel good about the fact that they are telling themselves they're in the process of learning Japanese. For the most part,
yeah. I mean, like, there are a lot of people, I feel like, especially that describes a lot of the community on, say, Twitter, right? You know, people constantly switch to a new language. Like, the start is always more rewarding. Yeah. There's always some sparkly other language to learn. Yeah, like the idea of being a polyglot.
Yeah. They're like
they care more about like that and the fun interaction from doing that than they do about staring directly into the task. And that's also one of the reasons why I was super glad that I didn't try to join a community until after I did AJAT, because I would have just gotten distracted like that.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of those people, like to be clear, there are actual polyglots.
Yes.
Like, you know, Luca Lampariello and like amazing people that actually reach really high levels of fluency.
They put in the work every single day to retain it.
Yeah, they're super strategic, super disciplined, super hardworking. And but then there's this whole like kind of larger like language learning community on Twitter where they basically are trying to learn like 3 languages at once, 4 languages at once. They switch language every couple of weeks, and they do more talking about their cute language learning to each other and how cute their notebook is than like actually doing language learning. And to be fair, that's really fine.
Yeah.
Like the way I think about that is like some people's hobby is playing a video game. That's not very productive either, like ultimately. but they enjoy it. It brings them joy, so that's great. I feel like it's the same thing. It's like if you know, telling yourself that like learning some basic phrases in like 4 languages and then talking to other people doing the same thing and writing like a really cute notebook that like has many different colors and like highlights on like how to say basic phrases. Like, all the power to you.
It's
but it's not actually like I don't really consider that true language learning.
It's like the cognitive dissonance of like, well, this when you say like this is just a hobby for me, but also they say that whilst having sort of like passively the entitlement of, but I will get good. Because everyone deserves the access of getting good. And it's like, but it's the same thing of like, I can't give someone permission to get good. They actually have to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have worked with some students before. I have like one particular person in mind who like was one of these people who like a serial language hopper. As soon as they get, you know, the initial shiny new object,
as soon as they get to the area of like grinding plateau,
then they immediately start hopping to a new language, and like they wanted to really be able to do something in the language, right? Like, I mean, they were one of these people that has just passion for language in general rather than one particular language. But, you know, I could tell like they wanted to be able to really go and connect with native speakers, read books in the language, like have a more meaningful connection, but they never got that far because of basically this not being able to stick with it long enough.
And get the ADHD addiction of Twitter.
Yeah, and for those people, it is kind of like unfortunate because they have more. They wish that they could actually get farther in the languages than they really get.
Yeah, those are the people that are sort of worth helping.
Yeah, and I think that overall culture of being like, no, it's okay to start a new language every other week. Like, it's okay, you can come back to it later. Like, you don't need to. Everyone has different goals.
It's kind of toxic positivity, isn't it? It's kind of the self-help toxic positivity. It's like you want someone to keep going rather than stop, but in that case we've made it sort of a taboo to tell someone that they're doing anything wrong. I mean, of course we're like to them just a random other person in the universe, like we can't control them. But I feel like especially there's a point that I kept criticizing on, say, Twitter for language learners, or maybe even Reddit, where it's just like people don't realize it, but they've passively, without making a proper commitment to it, made making friends and being in a community the goal of their language learning rather than the language learning. They haven't realized they've actually committed more to wanting to fit into the other people they see on social media rather than the language itself, which also stops them from doing, you know, radical, more niche ways of learning, and then it falls into you know, reduction to the mean lowest common denominator sort of situation.
Although like to be fair, for a lot of people, their like emotional need for connection and community is probably much greater than their need to learn the language.
Yeah.
So for those people, honestly, that might be like all in all a win for their life.
Yeah.
So again, it can be hard to make friends. There's like a loneliness epidemic, right? And it's hard to just connect with somebody randomly over nothing when you have nothing in common. So sometimes
a connection is valuable just by itself.
So I think for a lot of these people, language learning might be like a placeholder for just something they can connect.
It's like
with other
a book club, you know. It's the shared hobby, which is fine.
Yeah, and that can be really
that
great.
That has become the face of like any sort of language learning, which isn't technically bad, but it does get bad in a bigger sense when it creates the culture of like the sort of toxic positivity.
If you really want to get good at a language, then you need to make sure that you're not letting that style of thinking, which is actually prioritizing connection more, which again is great if that's what you're going for. But if you're serious about getting good at a language, then like a lot of the zeitgeist in that community is not going to be helpful to you.
Right.
But anyway, was the JLPT easy or what?
It was more challenging than I thought it would be. Like, I had to use my brain.
Right?
I think I've passed. Like, I know I haven't got full marks. I think it's the kind of test where, since it was my first time doing it, I spent like half of my brain during the whole test just learning like the way that they are testing you, because it's specific enough. Like, I feel like it's specific enough that you almost have to take it more than once if you want to expect a full mark, which isn't important. I just wanted it to get it out the way and never think about it again.
I mean, you never have to say what your score was, so it doesn't really matter.
Right, but I'll post on Twitter when it comes up, because they'll get the result at like the end of August online, and there'll probably be like some sort of certificate thing in September, I think is what they said. So I went into it like really prideful. Like, I didn't do any specific studying for it. I didn't even go back on my Anki to try and freshen up my wider vocabulary or anything. I didn't like go hard on Japanese again just to try and do it. My thoughts, like I thought like it would be fun if we like recorded a fun video, like bit more of a vlog type video of like taking the piss before I did it, and then have it like a before and after. But that couldn't happen. So we just have this after bit, so it's a bit less funny that I'll be more humble about the JLPT right now, because it was harder than I thought it was going to be. But before it, I was like, if I don't get full marks, I'm going to kick myself. And if I like don't pass it, I'm going to cut open my stomach. It was...
We definitely passed it, right?
I can't imagine not passing it.
Yeah.
Like I could feel
you
myself
drop Japanese.
Yeah, so. I feel myself dropping points at each section. But I feel like I have more respect for like how it divides learning. And one thing that I thought was like actually a test of competence is, since it's divided, let's get this clear for people that haven't taken the JLPT. It's a multiple choice exam where you just scratch into like a tick in a box out of like 4 choices for every single question. So you don't have to do any writing. You don't have to prove that you can write, which if there was, I'd be really bad at it. I hear the AJATTer does typing, which I would do fine. And I think that has some speaking in it. But like this involves no speaking, no outputting whatsoever. It's just, can you understand the input? And it's divided into 2 sections, one which is reading comprehension and one which is listening comprehension. And so there's a gap between these points because it's essentially different tests with different mark sheets. In the reading comprehension part, it's divided into vocab, grammar, and then actual reading comprehension. And the vocab is the bit that's easiest to criticize as bonkers. Because I think because it's the highest level, they just try and cast the biggest net as possible to try and demonstrate like your ability. Because they don't expect you to get all of the words right, but if they have a really wide net of like unrealistic words, it's more likely to actually test, okay, this guy's gone hard, I think is the point of it. But before I took this test, I went to like a bookshop in Akihabara that happened to have a bunch of like promotions for JLPT study books, specifically for foreigners, and they were in Japanese. Like they're actually like devoted to that, and they're like English stuff. But like the ones I showed on Twitter, like you can look back on it very recently in my history, and it's stuff like flip to a random page for the vocab bit, and you're like a bunch of like kango that start with ichi, like stuff like ipen, like stuff like that, ishin, and it's like, okay, these ones are useful. Half of them are not useful. It's like iso is there, okay, I get that. I've watched enough anime for iso to show up in my life. But then it's just stuff like ichiritsu.
Yeah, I hear that.
I've never heard that. Like if I saw it in a sentence, I'd be like, I guess it means this. Yeah. But like that's what it felt like. It felt like, okay, half of these are like, I've seen these, bit formal, but half of them I've seen them. Yeah. And the other one's just like, I don't even know if I've seen this once or twice in my life, sort of thing. I
feel like I'm gonna know all of them if I look at it.
You might.
Cocky.
You might, but that's the thing. That's the first thing I criticized about it is like, one, they expect you to have this weirdly specific view of vocabulary that's oddly big, and 2, most of the people studying for this honestly don't have the real life like input experience of those words. Yeah. So the only thing they're going off is the brief description in those books. Yeah. So the idea of them memorizing from these books alone is insane. It's just too much. It's not helpful enough by itself. It's not gonna...
it like reminds me of the other day I saw a video on like just a reel about it was like an American person showing some of the English that the Japanese middle schoolers learn. Yeah. And like a lot of the words, I mean, I had heard of them, but the guy, he's like very, very rare, right? Yeah. Like no, words I've definitely, there's no way a Japanese middle schooler needs to know this.
I've actually been on a line recently. I don't mean line as the thing. I mean like on Twitter lately, you might have seen me like criticizing Japanese learners of English actually, because the way they use the TOEIC is, one, they encourage really unhealthy study habits to kind of be like, right? Like lacking sleep and stuff, and it's just really, it's really unhealthy. It's like and
hustle culture of studying
in
Japan,
and then they show the vocabulary like that they're forced to learn for the TOEIC, and like no one's like used the word dampened in their fucking like it's stuff like that.
I mean, if you have to pass the TOEIC for a job, then it makes sense. Like for example, like I had a Japanese friend.
There's far more motivation to do that. Japanese
who was like, I don't really want to learn English, but I know my shukatsu is going to be a lot better if I know.
But these people are like true believers.
That's
like Kool-Aid drinkers.
That's really
and
cringe.
the TOEIC vocab is just stuff you've just never used in your life as an English speaker. Because after a certain point, it's not useful stuff anymore. It has to be a massive wide net, and that's exponential.
No, like I have a Japanese friend who's like very good at English, and he's went really hardcore.
Yeah.
And he's like he's like bought those books of rare words and he memorized them, and he speaks super unnaturally because of it.
Yeah.
Like I wish I could remember more of what he said, but remember one time when I first sold my course, he's like, "So, is your course selling like hotcakes?" And I was
it's a bit forced. Like, it works, but it's a bit forced.
Yeah,
you know?
like there was worse ones too. Of like, we went to dinner and he was like, "So, shall we go Dutch?"
Wait, what?
I know, and I was like, "What does that even mean?" He was like, "Oh, it means Wadikant." I was like,
"Like,
oh.
no,
I was
that's
like,
not what I expect."
Yeah, I was like, I like looked it up. I was like, okay, yeah, technically that exists.
It reminds me.
Never heard that before.
I saw a random YouTube clip once of like someone analyzing the lyrics for like Yonezu's "Lemon," you know that song "Lemon,"
yeah.
And it was just like, and it was like this like rare, like quite like flaming gay Japanese guy doing it, and it was like, oh, I've looked up what lemon means in English. Like, it means like "dicky sokonai," like that sort of thing. "Sticky janai," like said that sort of comment. I was like, and that's from a specifically like Britishism use of lemon, like, but that's not from like, oh, like a thing used in casual conversation. That's when you look at someone after they've done something wrong and say, "You fucking lemon," right?
Yeah,
that's not a romanticism. That's about being imperfect. That's
it's kind of like radwimps, like, you know, like radwimps. If you look up like what does that mean? Why are they called that? They like thought that it was basically meaning like a cool loser or something.
I mean, I guess.
So yeah, but we don't really say rad. Oh, that's rad, bro.
Right?
Like, we don't say, oh, what a wimp.
It's so
we
dated.
don't really say any of those, right? But they just probably looked up the Japanese and that in like a random Japanese to English dictionary, and then that's what came up, and they don't know if it's used or not. They just like, okay, this is what we're going with.
If it turns to JLPT, the actual vocab section is really small. It's like, it was maybe like 8 questions, where it was just like, what's the reading of this word? And then there was sort of like half of it was sort of like, what's the correct word to insert into this thing? And that was a bit better because it's more about, unfortunately for test takers, your ability to understand how natural a sentence sounds and what really goes in the middle there. So again, that wasn't too much of a problem for me, except unless it was like an awkwardly specific word. And then right after that, you have the grammar section, which is far more about, well, grammar points, more like conjunctions was a big bit of it, like where you put this in there. And that, if you just understand Japanese, like the flow and how, whether it sounds awkward or not, that's really easy. Of course, some of it's logic, like you just can't put a conjunction that's like this from one half of a statement into another half. And then the bit I really liked, actually, like it was a game, like I was solving a crossword, is there's one where there's 4 gaps missing in a sentence right after each other. And the A, B, C, D,
you have to put them in order.
You put them in order. And then your answer is whatever one is this specific one with a star sign on it. So you have to take all 4 of the phrases, put them in the right order in the sentence, and then pick out where that means the one that's important has landed, and then enter that one as your answer. And I can imagine there were people doing that, like, just scratching their heads. But I remember
that's a bit of an IQ test in addition to like I bet
there's some fun.
There's some like, you know, not super bright native speakers that would maybe get tripped up on that.
Maybe.
Not because of a language thing.
Just no, it's just a test sort of issue, right? There's always the classic example of like a native speaker does work worse than someone who specifically studied for the test in some ways.
Yeah.
And then after that, the bulk of reading comprehension is literally you're given like paragraph, like an article, a few paragraphs long, and certain parts of it you have to, from a choice, say what this is arguing, like what it's saying. And this is actual IQ test level stuff, you know. What does this thing actually suggest, not just what you might assume from any other life details. What does this actual passage suggest? And I think I did really well on that. But that was sort of the last bit of the reading comprehension thing. And the thing that most made me go, okay, JLPT might be serious for a competence test. I mean, other than the fact that like you are just unlikely to get these things right unless you're already good at Japanese. And unfortunately, the people most studying for this test will probably not be good at Japanese in the way that allows you to easily pass this test, you know. The thing that most shocked me was the time limit. In the reading comprehension, it's not like the listening where you listen to the CD with everyone, so it has to go everyone at the same time, and it's just 1 hour. In the reading comprehension, you're just sitting in silence solving your thing. And for some answers, I wasn't confident at the start, so I didn't enter anything. So I was like, I'll come back to it later. So I came back to it afterwards and went, okay, I'll do this for this reading. I'm not quite confident on that. That's the last part of those vocab things. And I like vigorously checked all my answers because I'm really bad at accidentally ticking the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Checked all my answers, then put it down, and like I swear, like a minute passed before I went, and that's time up. And I was like, I feel like I could sense the aura of sour faces around me from people that just would have not have finished the test.
Yeah.
That is possibly the biggest filter in that test. I don't know about other like levels of JLPT, but if you cannot read Japanese as a day-to-day thing, where it's no hassle, you probably just won't even finish the test in time. And these paragraphs, they weren't complicated things. Like, even if they had one or two words you might not know, from context, you'd probably get through it. And it was like it's not complicated stuff. It's like the same thing as reading, like, a self-help book. Like, the speaker is talking directly to the reader, that sort of stuff, and saying their beliefs about certain things, and, like, what's communication for? We all suffer at communication. That sort of talk, and then you just put in the right answers. But honestly, the biggest controlling factor, I think, for that part of the JLPT test is just, can you read at a normal level? Whereas I think conceptually, what would be hardest for a lot of learners in their own heads is a similar but different thing. Because the actual reading comprehension part, where you have to try and understand those paragraphs, that is probably, from a learner's perspective, the hardest thing to do. But I think for me it was the easiest thing to do, because once you are that level, that's just like data you pass mentally and you get through it. Whereas for me it's the vocab that becomes the random shot in the dark, because there's any amount of extra words that statistically you're not going to use that they could just randomly insert there. So it's much harder to get a full score on the vocab than it is on the reading comprehension, because the reading comprehension is everything is there. Like, you just need to be able to read properly, understand people's intentions. That is far higher level for a learner, but for someone who can actually pass the JLPT N1 to a decent level, vocab is just the wild card.
I see.
So it's not probably the opposite of what people sort of expect, I think, for difficulty. So yeah, I can imagine that JLPT N1 is very hard for a lot of, like, classroom learners especially, because you don't have the level of experience required to make it look easy, and that puts you into this doom cycle where you're like, I need to study harder. I need to go back and study harder, and you're not going to get out of it. But I have more respect for JLPT now because I could feel like, okay, this does require competence. The tragic part is that the competence needed for this part is likely not going to be earned by the kind of people that like really rely on this test to themselves. And the listening part, I've heard people say listening part's hard, but I think that's, as always, people just not doing a lot of listening practice. Some of it, like for Australia, it's way easier. Like, voice actors speaking, clear voices, everything. The hardest part about it is honestly that there's just a time limit of, you have to go to the next question. Like, immediately. You share the CD with everyone. There's no pausing or anything. But some of it was just like, the A, B, C, D was 4 different answers you could already see on the page. Like, you don't have to like remember them at the end or anything, even though it's listening. And it was just a case of like, which one of these statements is correct. And so while you're listening, you can draw notes and say it's a process of elimination for some of them. Other ones were something like someone says a phrase like, wow, it's really hot in here, and then there's 4 voices that play, and you just have to pick the one that's like makes sense. And it's just like, it's like, it's like the Antarctic in here. It's like, well, that's obviously not the correct one because that's cold. It was just like that. And then there were ones that are like, a guy talks for like 4 paragraphs one-sidedly to you about one thing. It's like, was he talking about the price of cars, the design of cars? And it's just that I can understand how, if you're not familiar with listening, how it feels like you need to understand the conversation as a conversation, which is something that I probably take for granted at this point, but it's probably harder for listeners, learners. Because to them, they might still be trying to just transfer the vocab and get through the vocab, whereas you need to like step back from that. Like, you need to understand it at such a natural level that you step back from it and go like, well, the conversation was about this, And that's easier for me because of my experience, and also it's just like, I don't even have to take in all the details at that point because
Yeah.
I know, because it's just what is the gist of this conversation. The most hardest part of the listening was the points where they do a long bit of talking between two people where they change their minds halfway through and they try and get you caught off at the end. And I really think that because of the end and like immediately stopping at the last question because it's pencils down as soon as the time's up and you're doing it with everyone else, that's what probably caused me to lose the most marks. Just the times where they're deliberately trying to trick you, because it's less about understanding and more about like staying on your feet. And they want you to write notes to try and help yourself remember. And I can write notes while listening to Japanese, like mostly fine. There's got to be people in there though that are probably killing themselves doing that, which is probably where the like really difficult impression of the listening part comes from, I think. Because if they tell you to write notes while you're listening, God, people who aren't used to listening are going to struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it sounds like if you want to pass the N1, the best strategy is to get good at Japanese rather than take the test.
Who would have thought? Get good at Japanese. Yeah. I think I could do a better score if I took it again, but I don't know if I want to go do that.
But why would you? Like,
right? As long as I pass, I'm fine.
You're literally becoming what you hate if you do that. Just to be like, I'm going to get a perfect test. See, look, I got a perfect test.
If I let the pride get to me, like, I just want to write it off. Like, I wanted to just, like, put it on my CV that says, yeah, 4 marks, JLPT N1, never ask me about this again. Because you doubt me, then you have to doubt the test. But like, I think it tests competence. But again, it's tragically in the way that like, one, no test can be perfect, but you also need to have done way more than the kind of like study that you would expect for this kind of test to actually pass it, which is the massive black hole gap.
Although again, like if you like, there's people that have studied Japanese for less than a year, like Korean people that have studied Japanese for less than a year and passed N1, and they don't speak almost any Japanese. But again, they're not getting full marks. They're probably barely passing. Okay. But the thing is, like, because you can miss a lot and still pass, right?
Technically,
and ultimately, it's not like TOEIC where you get your exact score. It's like, did you pass, yes or no? It's a binary, ultimately. So
do you not get your exact score? I think you get your score in areas.
No, they tell you. But when you apply for a job or something, you don't say your score. You just say,
because it's...
I passed.
I mean, yeah, I think it is pass-fail, but yeah, you don't need to care about your score because, if you have a high enough point, it is going to be a pass either way, so it's fine. That's true. But I really did want to just, like, trounce it, and like, that's why it would have been funny to record the before after, because the before would be me so cocky and me going like, should I drink before taking this test? Haha. And then the after is me going, oh well, it was like solving a fun crossword for 2 hours.
Yeah. Speaking of which, have you ever done crosswords in Japanese?
I'm doing one right now, actually.
Oh, here, hand me that orange book right there.
This one?
Yeah, I've been doing some.
Oh, I just get the big ones from the Konbini where you do it for like the prizes.
Oh yeah? Oh, I've never seen this.
It's just Jukugo. It's just wall-to-wall Jukugo. And so it's been using it to re-practice like drawing kanji.
Oh really? This one's all in katakana.
I had ones that have some in katakana, but like...
Yeah, because there's a certain rules that you... Like, they have to, make the rules. So the way it works is like anything that would be small, like small 2, small U, yo, is considered like big or small. There's no distinction.
Yeah, there was some of those in that, and it's like, it's kind of funny because I was writing them in hiragana like a shogakuse, and that was I've been doing a lot of those. I've been doing them actually. I did it at a party recently, and there were some new people at the party, so it's kind of the awkward flex, but like they immediately go, oh okay, you're good at Japanese. Like, even I know some people who just swear that they're bad at kanji, Japanese people that swear they're bad at kanji, and so sometimes I just know more shit than them because I focused so hard on it for so long. And that was the time when people were saying to me, like, I was more Japanese than Japanese people. Like, it's sort of... I think it's supposed to be, like, sort of a sarcastic compliment. Like,
yeah, obviously they don't really mean that.
Yeah,
because
right.
I get that all the time, but...
But it's like, yeah, you do well this kanji, right?
Well, there are specific things that, like, as a learner, you pick them... Because, like, native speakers don't look things up in dictionaries very much.
True.
So there's a lot of things where, like...
There's just no reinforcement there.
Yeah, where, like, there are kanji that exists. They're in the dictionary. When you look up a word, you'll see the word written in kanji. Yeah. But in real life, you almost never see it. Like hitode or something. Like start like.
I don't know how to do the stuff. There's no. But the thing is, I also have that problem. Like, if I see it, I can read it.
Yeah.
But I can't like write it from memory.
Well, yeah, me too. I'm not that good at that.
But it's for this. It was like a person just like, I just don't like reading. Like, I don't read anything in Japanese as a Japanese person because I don't like kanji, that sort of level. And there's a surprising number of those people. That sort of reminds me because in JLPT, actually, one of the things that was bogus about the vocab was there was a few words like in the passages they gave you, they put like furigana on. And I was like, shingoto. I was like, what the fuck? I'm expecting to know way harder words than this. Why did you randomly put furigana on like shigoto?
Yeah, that's funny. But anyway, yeah, you want to speak some Japanese?
Yeah, okay. Can you start me off then?
Yeah.
I don't want to like my username. I will trip over my username Japanese because I haven't decided where I even want the drop to be. Like on Gary.
I mean, if you're gonna say Japanese Gary or just Gary,
I'm gonna say Japanese Gary Ben.
Japanese Gary Ben probably. Wait, Japanese
Gary Ben.
Japanese. Well, I mean, you say it's from Gary Ben,
right? Yeah. So should it be flat or should it?
In that case, it would. So are you gonna have it be like Gari Ben, or are you gonna have it be like Gari Ben?
Yeah, I was gonna drop it at the G actually.
Because then if it's Gari Ben, then it would be Japanese Gari Ben. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was sort of expecting.
Okay.
I guess I'll go with that.
It's gonna be like Gari Ben.
Like no, I was gonna say it more like the. You're right actually. Will I extend the re-sound or not? Screw it. There's no canon answer, I guess.
Well, I'll just you're just Gari-san to me now.
Whatever. Either way, better than Geri-san.
Oh yeah, that's 危ない。
危ないよ。
そうだね。
やべえ。
そう。なんか日本語で話したことあるっけ？あると思う。最初に多分初めてちゃんと会った時にちょっと日本語を喋ったと思うんだけど。
多分最初に会った時はちょっとだけですよね。
そうだね。
逆に2人だけで話したこともないと思う。
まあなかなかないよね。まあでも
LINE の中とか。
あ、そうだね。たまに日本語でチャットしたりとか。
そうなんか自分だけの冗談みたいな感じで日本語で話してたけど、ね、最初に会った時はね2人で話したことがなかった。でも日本人の前ではそれは当たり前になったよ、ね。
あ、それはそう
大体それ限定だったんよね。
ああ、そうかもね。確かにそうだね。人によっては外国人同士で普通に日本語喋っても違和感ない人と、なぜか日本語で喋るとちょっとなんだろう変な感じするっていう人に、俺結構人によるっていうか、
なんかネタとか漫才やってる感じあるよね。なんか
そう
2人でなんか外国人をわざと日本語やってる感じ。
ああ、まあなるほどね。俺まあわかるけど、
ちょっとプライベートな話だと別にその必要もなくて、
まあ
でも、
ね、
日本人の前では2人だけの話でもそれも当然だよね。
そうだね。
そういう認識はちょっとあるな。
まあそれはまあ日本人がその場にいたらそれはもちろん日本語喋るけど、でもなんだろうね、なんかさ外国人人によっては自分の日本語力が、なんだろうね、すごい誇らしいっていうか、
誇らしい、
俺一番うまいよねみたいな、そういう
俺すげえぜみたいな、そういう
人はなんか外国人相手にも結構日本語喋ってくる人が多い気がする。なんか俺の日本語こんなにうまいんだぜみたいな、そういう人と一緒になると大体2人だけでも結構日本語になりやすい。僕もその系はあったな、逆に。特にまあ飲んだ時のね。まあ俺別にそれでもいいけど、俺も結構そう、まあ、どっちかっていうとそっち系だし、普通に外国まあちゃんとうまい人だったら
それでナンパしてたもんね、マットさんは。
いやいや、そういう話はちょっとプライベート
すまん。
そうだね。
そうですよね。まあ基本的に日本人の前では当たり前だし、でもまあ2人だけだったら、躊躇するんだよね。
難しい言葉使うね。
難しい言葉を使わない。
でもいいとかっこいいっていうかいいと思
う。それも試験の
出てきた。躊躇する。もちろん振り仮名付き。ああ、なるほどね。確かに常用漢字じゃないもんね、多分。
常用漢字じゃない。でも綺麗も常用漢字じゃないし、綺麗もひらがな表記だと。
ひらがな？まあそれはそうか。
なんかカタカナだと綺麗はちょっとなんか。
まあ使うけど
若者みたいな感じはあるね。
そうだね、結構カジュアルな感じ。
そう綺麗なんかやばいみたいな感じの。
ちゃんとした文章を多分使わないよね。
そうですよね。常用漢字はそれだけで変だよね。
ちなみにそのタメ語と丁寧語どっちの方が話しやすい？その
一般的にタメ語ですよね。
そう、なんでなんか丁寧語で喋ってきてんの？一応年上でしょ？
そうだけど、そういう
やっぱ俺が先輩って認識
それはある、それはある。なんか、師匠としてみたいな。でも、大体そういう感じなんですね。逆にね、最初、新しい人知り合った時は、ちょっと調子乗ってタメ語になることは多いんですけど、徐々になんかですとか出てくる。逆に。
順番逆だね。
逆に。なぜか。
いつも逆じゃない？
普通は逆だけど、僕はそういう感じだよね。逆に最初の方の、第一印象は、なんかいいけど、徐々に残念とか、なんか控えめになる感じかもしれない。
なるほどね。
なので、友達の間でも、なんか普通になんか、ですよねとか、なんか、で終わるような、やばいっす、そういうなんか、高校生みたいなノリはありますよね。なので、
合ってないっていう。それでどう？
そう。なので、別に、丁寧語よりは、なんか、その場で話しやすい方を優先するとか、
そうだね。まあ外国人だったら、まあ日本人同士でも多分タメ語使うようなところ、外国人だったら、タメ語でも許されることがあるっていうか。
そうですよね。でもそれは大体なんか間違ってる感じはあるな。なんか自分でなんか後になって恥ずかしくなる感じ。
まあやっぱまあ、空気読まないといけないもん
ね。空気読めないような人でもなんか外国人だから別に指摘もされないっていうか、それも恥ずかしい。昨日もそういう経験があった。横浜の日本酒フェスティバルみたいなやつに参加したんですけど、その時はまあ知らないうちになんか質問をなんかしてた時になんか単純にのかって終わったみたいな。これはマスケた方が良かったかもしれないけど、その場の勢いで初めて会った人となんか最初に質問した時にられるのかみたいな感じ。それちょっとまあ後になって失礼だね。失礼だな。なんか急に恥ずかしくなった気分。なんか自分のレベルを疑うような、そういう認識はその場で属さにはまあ難しいよね。
まあでもそういう恥ずかしさっていう気持ちが、
ちゃんと認識してる感はあるんですよね。
それやったらいいんじゃない？やっぱまだ伸びしろがあるっていうか。
やっぱりなんか面接の時でも普通にそういう感じだし。
そうなの？面接の時タメ語喋っちゃうの？それ絶対ダメでしょ。
そうですよね。なんか結構息きするもん。
そりゃ落ちるよ。そりゃ落とされるよ。
そうですけど、
外国人まだ全然
でも調子乗ってる、
日本分かってないなってなる。
調子乗ってる感じじゃなくて、なんか多分なんていうか
関係ないでしょ。もうタメ語って時点でもうダメでしょ。
そうかもしれない。無条件で
面接だったら
多分、ね、本当に出任せみたいな感じでどっちになるか終わった時にしか分からないよ。そういう感覚がある。
まあでも常識としてやっぱりちゃんとてか
それは練習した方がいい。それこそ練習した方がいいよね。
ちゃんとした敬語じゃないと多分ダメだよね。まあ面接受けたことないけどちゃんと。
まあね、ブリーチングスタッフっていう立場になると思うんですけど、それは社内なのである程度は許されると思うんですけど、逆に面接で自慢じゃないんですけど、結構ジョナサンさんって一番うまいかもしれない。私の経験の中で、全然働けると思うんですけど、みたいな反応だし、恥ずかしいようなことでも周りのレベルが残念に低いおかげで、逆に再評価されるかもしれない。
じゃあなんで落ちたの？い
や、それは単純に別に能力の話じゃなくて、逆にビザのせいだと思う。ワーホリだと早くなんかつけるっていうイメージはなくて、逆に
なるほどね。
この間も残ってるので切り替えもできないし、更新もできないし、なので普通の資料ビザだったっけ？
就労ビザ
だった場合は普通に更新はできますけど、そうじゃなかったらちょっと難しい。最初から勢いはすごかったけど、いきなり企業の方から 逆にエージェントの方じゃなくて、企業の方からなんか面接する前にもうこれではちょっとダメですよね。そもそも、エージェント経由そういうなんか採用したそもそもエージェントを使うっていうメリットは企業にとっては速さですよね。
なるほど。
なので逆にイギリスに戻って就活を続けた方が、好きやすいし、なぜか。
なるほどね。
僕の知り合いの中でもそもそも自分が今日本にいることを偽って伏せた方が好きやすかった。
その本当は日本にいるけど、今まだイギリスにいますよって企業に伝えた方がむしろ
その友達はフランス人だったんですけど、この間沖縄の仕事にしました。
なるほどね。その人何のビザで日本にいたの？
僕と同じワーホリ。
なるほどね。じゃあワーホリから就労ビザに切り替えるのが制度的に難しい、
難しい。そもそも切り替えという認識は間違っていて、終わらせて新しいビザを取る必要があるので、
なるほど。
それで自分の国の大使館を取らないといけない。
なるほど。
なので、どちらかというと帰国する羽目になる。
なるほど。どうせ。なるほどね。まあでもそれだったらもうどうせまたこれから帰国するし、そのイギリスにいながら日本の企業に就職して、それでまた日本戻ってくれたらいいよね。
そうですね。
てか業式タメ語喋ってくんない？なんかずっとさ、めっちゃその友達感覚で英語で喋ってて、いきなり俺もタメ語喋ってるし、丁寧語喋られたらちょっと
これも多分なんかアクセントの関係上で逆に全部ですますにしたら分かりやすい、僕にとって。なんかそうじゃないとなんか逆に変になんかチンピラ感になる。なんかねえとか。
いやちょっとやってみて。
じゃあ意識して、
でもちょっと思ったんだけど、全然思ってたより日本語上達してる。
そうっすか。
もう
もちろん最初に会った時はね、そもそも日頃からあんまりやらなかった。
そう一番最後にね、今日までもう1年間会ってなかったでしょ。そう1年前に会ってちょっと日本語喋ったんだけど、全然こんなに喋れてなかった。
まあそれよ。
そう。
ちょっとしかなんか考えてから話せないとちょっと難しかったよね。
なるほどね。だからもう全然思ってたよりうまいし、なんかさ、その一番うまかったのは、AJAT その1年半やって、その時点でもう5年前とかもうその
大体それくらいになるな。
一番5年前の方が一番日本語うまかったって言ってたけど、絶対そんなことないと思う。絶対今の方がうまいと思う。
頭の中の状況となんか実際に話してるなんかレベルとかそれちょっと違うと思うけど、
なるほどね。まあ確かに難しいよね。なんか最近うまくなってるのか
来なかったね。これは伝わらなかったっていうことだよね。だいたいそういう感じでこれくらいなんか間違ってたんだみたいな気づきはあるよね。なので今でもちょっと恥ずかしい、それだけで。でも、自分の認識では最近は特に劣化してる。
そうなの？へえ。
なんか早く言わないとそもそも面白くないのに、なんかつまずいてる感じはあるとか。
やっぱさ、なんだろうね、本当は上達してるんだけど自分に厳しいから前よりも自分のミスとかに気づけるようになってるだけなんじゃない？
それもあるし、でもそれと同じくらいなんか自分の語彙力が下がってるのは実感してて。
そうなの？別にさ、それもさ、
この時点でも結構無理して喋ってるんですけど、
全然そんな感じはないよ。
歯切れよくなんか間を入れる感じではあるけど、それだったらある程度ごまかせると思うけど、でそれでもなんかまだ自然に出てくるような感じではない。まだまだ上があるっていうか。
それはそうだよ。それはもちろん俺もだってまだまだもっと上手くなりたいと思ってるし、でも普通に思ってたよりめっちゃうまい。
足元には呼ばないよ。
俺の足元にはね。
でも
俺も足元にも呼ばない人もいるの、普通に。
上には上がいる。
そう。最近結構めっちゃものすごい日本語うまい外国人何人かあって、もう本当に俺も頑張らないとなって思って。
俺も恥ずかしい話なんですけど、ですって言ってた。恥ずかしい話だけど、
なんか上手い人に会うたびに、なんかネット上でもなんか、まあ、別に意識しなくても動画が出てくるし、その動画の中でこの人は本当に上手いなみたいな感じで、悔しい、悔しがってるな俺、そういう感じになるし、でも最終的にネイティブだったっていうオチ、
ある。
それで安心する。
たまにある。わかる。もうめっちゃ
なんか安堵の域みたいな。
そう。俺もこの前なんか動画、日本人の恋愛観がおかしいみたいなタイトルで、顔も結構ハーフっていうかもう外国人っぽい顔。で、見てみたらもう普通にめちゃくちゃ日本語上手くて、何この人と思って。で、その動画の中でその人が、まあって言っても俺日本人なんだけどって言って、
よかったそう悔しがる人も、理由も特にない。
もう普通に多分日本生まれ育ち。
そういう感じでずっと見てるね、まだまだ。あれ、まだまだ器とか、ちょっと小さいよね。言っちゃえば。
まあ、それは、俺も自分のことを見ててもそう思うんだけど、でも日本語のコメント来てるね。やっぱ遠くからだと日本語の方がちょっと読みづらいね。
二人とも日本語うまいな。
これ日本人なのかな。
南さんっていうね、多分
なんかその日本人の方だと思うんだけど、お二人さんは年寄りの喋り方理解できる？まあ、なんか滑舌の悪さによるかな。
本当にね、
おじいさんとかもう本当に滑舌が
そう
ちょっとやばい人は何言ってるか分かんないね。
いや、俺の友達の中ではちょっとまあ一回りなんか二回り上の人いるんだけど、本当に飲んでる時はね、声がこもってるような感じで喋ってて、でももうあれが全然わかる。
日本人は普通にわかる。
日本人は普通にわかる。なんかアクセントのノリみたいな感じで普通に認識できるし、でも俺はなんかなんていうか唖然としちゃうとか、
なるほどね。
もう何言ってんの？
それ難しいよね。俺もたまにある。
なので多分年寄りっていうか多分想定してるような方だと、多分できないと思う。
でもこれもこの前あった話なんだけど、まあちょっとさっき言ってたのと似た話なんだけど、日本人の友達とめっちゃローカルな居酒屋に行って、その居酒屋に行ったらそのおじいさんとおばあさんが2人で経営してて、他にお客さんが
そういうとこもあるんですよね。
誰もいなくて、
ホームみたいな感じ。
カウンター座らされて、めっちゃ話しかけられて話すしかなかったんだけど、本当になんだろうね、70代とかだったと思うんだけど、あと関西の方たちで、
そっか。
結構そういうめっちゃ滑舌悪い早口の関西弁年寄りっぽい感じで喋られて、本当に何言ってるかまあ半分ぐらい分かった。だから半分聞き取って適当になんかごまかしたりとかして、でやっとそのまあ何時間か頑張って話して店出た後に俺が日本人の友達に、いやもう何言ってるか半分ぐらいしか分かんなかったねって言って、で日本人の友達がいや俺も半分しか分かんなかったって言って、
それでよかった。
それでよかった。日本人もやっぱあそこまで行くと日本人も分かんないんだと思って。
いや俺は多分なんかアニメみたいな年寄りじゃないと分からないかもしれない。
その滑舌普通にいいんだけど一人称がわしみたいな。
そうじゃとか
語尾がじゃろうとか、
語尾がじゃろうになってるとか、
滑舌は完璧っていう。
もちろん声優だからね、それは普通だよね。
そうだね。
でも別になんか関西弁になっても問題はないように思います。思うよね。逆に日本人より関西弁がわかるかもしれない。
その若者の普通の人のおじいちゃんの標準語、
おじいちゃんじゃなくて
おじいさんの標準語よりも普通の人の関西弁の方が
普通の人だったら俺は日本人より聞こえやすいっていうか、
聞き取りやすい。
なぜかっていうと、それ多分日本人は意外と、アクセントに頼ってる感じがあるよね。でも外国人だからこそ、
なるほどね。
それに頼ってる感じはない。なので、言葉の意味として伝わってるし、なのでアクセントが違っててもそもそも気づかない場合もあるし、
イントネーションね。
イントネーションはそもそも同じでも違ってもそもそも同じようになんか認識してるし、本当に関西弁っぽい言葉にならないと気づかない。
そうだね。そう結構イントネーション勉強して初めて関西弁が本当はどれだけ標準語と違うのか。多分 イントネーション勉強したことない外国人は、まあ語尾違うよね。でも語尾ぐらいしか違わない。だから結局そんな変わんないみたいな認識かもしれないんだけど、イントネーション含めて言うとだいぶ違うよね。
そうだよね。具体的に何が違うとかわからないし、でも違うなっていう感じはある。
でも大体その落ちるところが一個早くなる。早くなる。
そこまでも認識してない。単純に、この人が関西弁になると好きだな、
これだけ分かるとすぐ分かるよ。例えば、高いってさ、どこが一番高い？
いや、分からない。
いや、でもこれ高いって単語使うとあれだから、寒い。普通に標準語は、寒いって言ったら一番高い文字は何？
寒いは、いや、これはなんか考えついて逆になんか理論的な話で、
じゃあ自分が言ったらめっちゃゆっくりはっきり発音するとどうなる？
寒い。
合ってるよ、発音。
起伏じゃないよね。
起伏だ。
起伏で、そうか、
寒い。
そうか。
だから一番高い文字はムでしょ。じゃあそれが一文字早かったらどうなる？
寒い。
それが関西弁。
そうか。
寒い、高い、短い。
そうか。逆に最近新明会の本とか見て、札幌弁っていうか、それ一番分かりやすいかもしれない。だって形容詞が全部起伏型になってる。
なるほど。
赤いじゃなくて赤い。
いやでも赤いは標準語でも平板。
まあ上手にそのようになってるんじゃないか。
まあ後に名詞がつくとそれ平板になる。赤いものとか。
そうか。でも何でも起伏型になってる。
なるほどね。それ
逆に
どこに書いてあったの？
新明会のなんか裏のところに書いてあったけど、
北海道弁っていうかはこうなってますよみたいな。
この投資によってはどういう傾向があるとか、
都道府県によって。
そう東京、京都、札幌みたいな。
まあでも多分標準語っていうか東京でも形容詞全部起伏型で発音しても違和感はないと思う。赤いものとか言っても別に日本人、ほとんどの日本人は違和感は感じないと思う。
若者の間では
一番よくある発音は赤いものになるはず。
そうですよね。
まあ外国人だからもう合ってるか分かんないんだけどね。
合ってるか分かんない。
Take with a grain of salt してください。
それは多めに見てくださいみたいな感じじゃないの？
津軽弁とかだと日本人でも全く分からないらしいですよね。まあ日本語じゃないって言ったらそれは
この弁そもそも見たことないし、なんか例の部類に入ると博多弁辛いですし、そもそもこれは読めるのか分からないし、自分ではその弁先に言った津軽弁そうか。
青森の
その話は逆に日本人から聞いた。青森のおじさん全然分からないし。
いやでもそれはもう本当にまあ日本語ではあるだろうけど
そう本当にそういう
外国語に聞こえるぐらいこれ日本語なのって感じになるぐらい本当に標準語とは全く違うよね。少しだけ YouTube で聞いたことあるけど。でもまあもうそろそろ多分終わりにした方がいいだろうけど、でもその最後にこれからのことをちょっとだけ聞きたくて、これからもっと自分の日本語を伸ばしたいのか、でも一旦イギリスに帰って、向こうで日本の企業に就職したいっていうのはさっき聞いたけど、
それ先決だね。
また日本語真剣に勉強する。
その余裕が出ればって話、なんか逆に就職したらその時点でもうその勉強もそのやりがいは出ると思うんだよね。なので多分暗記の時とか、ちゃんと復習するとか、そういう感じだったら最強になるんだよね。僕の中では。なんか昔の語彙録でこのような感じで喋れるとか、いいね。なんか過去の栄光みたいな感じで取り戻して。
で、アクセントもちょっと勉強してる。
ちょっとはね、
でもそんなに悪くないよ。
なんか
感心してる。
ありがとう。
別になんだろうね。
恐縮です。
上から目線で申し訳ないんだけど。
いや、それはもちろん上から目線だし、就職だし。
いいね。
じゃあ、
まあでも日本語でも喋れてよかったわ。なんか英語に戻るのが恥ずかしくなってきた、逆に。
そう、なんかスイッチがなんか固まってる感じが。
じゃあ、日本語のまま終わるか、じゃあ。
あ、そうか。じゃあ、ジャパニーズギャリーベンでした。
はい、その後、ツイッターやってますよね。
ちょこちょこやってますよね。
他に
ジャパニーズギャリーベンで。別に、
まあ、リンク後で付け加えると、あと YouTube 一応、この多分配信のタイトルに入ってる。
そう。
他に宣伝したいことある？
まあ、日頃からやってるツイートとか、それは基本的に言語学習者に向けての、まあ、励ましっていう言葉ではないですけど、
まあ、ある意味
励ましにはなってるけど、もっと熱血教師、そういう方面で言わせていただいております。で、本当に伝わってるのか
は飴とムチの方に。
ムチの方です。ムチの方です。
はい。
もちろん。なので、本当に日本語に上手くなりたいとか、別にどんな言語でも上手くなりたいとか、そういうアドバイスにはなってると思うんですけど、それもよろしくお願いします。
はい。よろしくお願いします。じゃあ、後でリンク付け加えるね。まあ、でも、全くこのタイトルに入ってる Japanese Gary Ben ね、そのまま Twitter で検索したら出てくる。
もちろん。そのままだよ。
じゃあ、楽しかったぜ。ありがとう来てくれて。じゃあ、このまま。よろしく。いや、俺なんかこの歌が悪い癖だよね。最後によろしくお願いしますって言っちゃうんだけど、おかしいよね。ありがとうございましたね。
そう。
ありがとうございました。
ご視聴ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。はい、バイバイ。Sweet.
Went better than I thought it would.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.